Hi, it's Daisy from mywidowedheart.com. Today I want to share some tips that might be helpful to widows and widowers, or really anyone who's grieving. First off, let me say that everyone's grief is different. There's no wrong or right way to grieve. You have to do whatever works for you, and it doesn't matter what anyone else says. The first tip is to try to avoid making major decisions for at least 1 year after your loved one's passing. After losing your spouse, your emotions are all over the place and you probably can't think straight most of the time. I was in a brain fog for probably most of my first year. It was pretty bad. I couldn't focus. Also, so many things change after loss, and it takes a long time to get your bearings and adjust to this new life. So generally, it's best to avoid selling your house and moving or getting rid of belongings or changing jobs, etc. Try to wait at least a year before you make decisions that are irreversible. That being said, you may have no choice because of financial reasons, or maybe you just feel so strongly about something that you don't want to wait that long. Only you know what's right for you in your particular situation. I sold my house and moved about 6 months after losing my husband. For me, it was for financial reasons, and I started feeling more and more that I didn't want to live there anymore. The house was too big for just me and way out there in the country. It was too lonely, too far away from everything, and, like I said, too expensive for my new situation. So yeah, you should wait if possible, but it just depends on your individual situation too. Be kind to yourself. Your life has changed drastically and it takes time to adjust and heal. So take it 1 day at a time, or 1 hour at a time, or 1 minute at a time. And I think you have to really acknowledge your accomplishments, like getting through a meeting or making a difficult phone call. Heck, even getting out of bed is an accomplishment when you're grieving. Take care of yourself. Try to eat nutritious foods. It's easy to forget to eat altogether when you're grieving, so be sure to try to eat at least a little bit. And if your friends or your family offer to cook for you, then let them. It makes them feel better too. I used to eat a lot of sandwiches and salad for dinner. It's something that's easy to fix, and with the salad, you're getting your veggies too. Enlist the help of friends as much as you can. And even though a lot of things like dealing with assets, accounts, or credit cards cannot be handled by anyone but you, it's still a good idea to have a friend with you for support and an extra set of ears. It's so overwhelming to have to deal with all the stuff that needs to be taken care of, so please use any help you can get. Don't worry about what other people think. Do what is right for you. There's no one-size-fits-all manual or timeline for grief. Please remember, you will have setbacks. Certain things, places, dates, and events can often be triggers that launch you back into deep sadness. A lot of times it'll feel like 1 step forward, 2 steps back. Please don't get discouraged. It's a long, hard journey, but you'll get there. This next tip is meant mostly for those of you who are retired or homemakers. It doesn't really apply much if you're employed, since you won't have that much free time anyway. So, my advice is to try to stay somewhat busy. It helps to distract your mind and gives you a break from constantly thinking about your loss, at least a little bit. But you shouldn't be so busy that you don't have time to grieve, and you shouldn't keep busy just to constantly avoid your grief. I think you have to find a middle ground of sorts. Without distractions like work, chores, friends, and so on, my grief would have completely consumed me, and I would have drowned in my grief. As much as I hated it, going to work probably saved me. It gave me the social support that I needed and, to some extent anyway, gave me a break from constantly thinking about my husband's death. But it's really important to also set time aside, in the evenings maybe, to really grieve and lean into your pain and your emotions. As David Kessler said, the only way out of the pain is through the pain. Keep a diary. It can be helpful to express your emotions and thoughts in writing. You don't have to write every day, or a lot if you don't feel like it. Sometimes a diary entry might just be 1 or 2 sentences about how your day was. There's something about writing down your emotions that's so helpful in healing. Plus, when you go back and reread earlier entries, you can see how far you've come on this journey. This next tip is not meant for those absolutely horrible first couple of weeks right after loss, but more for several months or maybe half a year or so after. Because right after loss, it's all about just making it through the day somehow. So after a few months or so, once you start feeling a little bit better, maybe pick up an old hobby or start a new one. Slowly try to start living again instead of just existing. I know it's hard and you might have to push yourself to do it. If you can't think of a hobby, maybe just start going for walks and enjoy nature. That always helped me a lot too. Try to find things that bring you joy and brighten your day in some way. This could be activities like hiking or gardening, or pretty surroundings like new curtains or decor in your favorite color, or listening to music, or just enjoying a great cup of coffee. Focus on yourself and what you like, whatever that might be. And then enjoy those things and those little moments of happiness without guilt, because your loved one would want you to. I hope these tips will help you at least a little bit on your journey towards healing. If you liked this video, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. Don't forget to check out my website at mywidowedheart.com, where I share my personal grief journey as well as helpful tips and information for dealing with grief and loss.